Maja has been involved in volunteering to preserve a bog at Stanley Park in Vancouver. Bogs are a special kind of wetland found in low-lying areas where groundwater sits on the surface or where rain or snow saturates the soil. Let's see a video about Maja and Stanley Park Bog.
Hi, I'm Maja Lampa. I'm a student who lives in Vancouver, and right now we're in Stanley Park at the secret bog right by Beaver Lake, which is behind me. So bogs and the water in it, it comes in, and there's, just like in lakes, there's some water that will stay for longer than others, but the water typically will come in and be filtered by the plants and then leave much cleaner than it came in. I was first interested in Stanley Park from my mom, who brought me to Beaver Lake. She just showed me all the animals living in Stanley Park, and then I spoke at Parks Board about the dredging of Beaver Lake and removing some of the invasive species. And someone emailed my mom and told her about a grant from Vancouver Foundation. I applied for the grant and I came in here, and I just was amazed by how special it was, and I saw some sundews. And the other part about bogs that amazed me was that people are actually getting rid of them when they're part of the things that's helping to filter the water that goes through our watersheds. I've been coming in with the Stanley Park Ecology Society and restoring this bog by removing some of the invasive species like the salal, which are non-bog species, and helping to open up the area for the species such as the sphagnum moss and the sundews, bog laurel, and Labrador tea, and helping to improve the overall health of the bog, and by doing that also improving the health of Beaver Lake. Some of my favorite plants in the bogs are the sundews, which are carnivorous plants that need the low nutrients and the acidity in the bog to thrive. And they eat small insects such as damselflies and flies because they can only grow to be about a finger tall if they're big. And the way that they eat the bugs is, instead of being like a Venus flytrap and snapping shut on the bug really quickly, they have little balls of dew-like fluid on them, and it's sticky, and the bugs get trapped on it, and then it slowly closes. And when they digest the bugs, they use about as much energy as they get from the bugs to digest them. And they're flowering right now, which means they have a tall green stem above them with little white balls that are like their flowers that they use with bugs to pollinate them. And the same bugs that will pollinate them are the ones that they'll eat. Bogs act like sponges because they have a lot of this moss and the peat moss in them, and peat moss is just dead sphagnum moss. And sphagnum can absorb up to 20 times the amount of water of its body weight, and it absorbs so much water that when the summer comes and it starts to release that water, the little pods in the sphagnum moss will actually burst, and it sends out the little seeds almost that will reseed sphagnum in another area.
Thanks, Maja. You've done a great job at that park, and thank you for showing us all the things that make it a very special wetland.